You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabi. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers. Okay. When we left off last time, we were about to celebrate book Crawlidays.
And no one calls it that but you.
I know no one calls it that, but...
The rest of us call it Independent Bookstore Day, or San Diego's Independent Bookstore Crawl.
See how unwieldy that is? It's
abbreviated to Book Crawl, which is a lot less unwieldy.
It's only Book Crawlidays if you ask to take a day off of work.
I did ask to take a day off of work, and it turned out to be the wrong day.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it.
Because I thought it would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because that's like a normal long weekend thing to do. So
I also
Friday
thought
off.
that for a bit.
And then it turned out to be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Which is absurd.
Still irritates me. Who does that on a Monday?
On the other hand, it ended up working great for me because it meant that I could take Friday... Oh no, this was the backwards. Originally I thought the same thing, and I thought it was going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I still was going to take Monday off and be like, reading day. Yeah. And that didn't happen.
I was exhausted on Monday. I should... If I had known I would be that tired... I mean, we did it all in 2 days.
Yeah. We did it
we
Saturday
went to,
and Sunday.
Was it 11 bookstores?
11 bookstores.
11 bookstores in 2 days. That's still so much.
We're so awesome.
And it was a lot of fun.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
like, I knew by Sunday afternoon, like, I was getting real tired. But, like, I did not realize the crash that would ensue. I was so useless on Monday.
So now we're recording notes to future selves a year from now. Definitely take the day after off. Possibly also take the day before off. If you're rich enough, a year from now.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how rich future Gabi and future Smack are. So we donned...
You didn't have to go to 11 bookstores, though. But the way it
Yes,
works...
we did. We did.
Okay. But we didn't actually have to. We just did. So the way it works is that there are 11 bookstores, and after you go to 1 or 2, you get a pin, right?
Yeah, I think the first step was sticker.
Oh, you get a sticker, and then you get a pin, and then after 8 bookstores, you get a tote bag.
No, tote bag was 5 or
was
4?
it?
4 or 5. Because we kept having to push it because no one had the tote bags. 8 was fancy enamel pin.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a tote bag, an adorable enamel pin of a raccoon surrounded by books.
So cute.
By a local artist who does a different pin for every one of these every year. And then the grand prize this year was a 3D printed glow-in-the-dark little statue. It's like 2 or 3 inches tall, and it's of an open book on a pedestal. And
it does say something on it, and I forget what it says. It took me a while to figure out that it said something.
I know, right? So I didn't realize it said anything until the next day. But it does say 2022 Ultimate Book Crawler.
We are the ultimate book crawler.
And it glows blue instead of that, like, usual greenish yellow.
Heck
and
yeah.
that just delights me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And at the last place, when they handed us these things, I don't know about you, but the woman at the cash register handed me the thing and was like, the bathroom is right there. Go in there and turn off the light and see the glow. Which was lovely and adorable.
It was definitely very excellent, and I'm very proud of us.
I really liked everyone at that bookstore. They were really excited and lovely.
But that was the end.
That was the end. We're going to start at the beginning.
Start bright and early on Saturday morning at Warwick's in La Jolla.
Yes.
For those who don't know, La Jolla is one of the richer neighborhoods in San Diego.
And Warwick's has been there a long time. They're like a La Jolla institution, practically. I saw Tamora Pierce there in, like, 2003.
Did you really?
Super exciting.
Probably the most exciting thing to ever happen in Warwick.
That's mean.
According to us.
Yes. Warwick's is a really lovely
in our
store.
spheres.
And they're more than a bookstore in that, like, when I got there, I knew I wasn't going to buy a book. Well, the other rule you have to know about is that, so when you go to one of these stores, you have to spend a minimum of $5 for them to stamp your quote-unquote passport, which is just a list of all the bookstores. And so I knew ahead of time that when I went to Warwick's, I was going to get some fancy pens.
Oh, yeah, because, like, half the store is just, like, a beautiful, like, they have, like, a
It's like
leatherworking
an office.
or...
Do they really?
Not leatherworking, what is it? They have, like,
it's like an
a
office
counter.
supply store.
It's an office supply store, but there's, like, a counter where you can get
yeah.
fancy stuff done, and I don't know...
Like, literally everything from, like, novelty paper clips to wax for, like...
Oh, yeah, the seals.
Yeah.
So that part's really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the unique things about Warwick's.
And I knew that the books that I would be most likely to find were, like, nonfiction bestsellers that I was looking for that I could find at other stores if I needed something for that other store.
Yeah. Like, I ended up getting a cute little children's book called Where's the Narwhal for one of my nibblings, where it's just a felt flap thing. And then that's where I got all of my, like, marine-themed notebooks and a cute little whale tail box. So it's that kind of place. Yeah.
But I guess Warwick's had this separate promotion going on where if you bought a book, you got to pick another book from this cart they set aside.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman who rang me up with my 2 little pens, they were nice pens, but I only bought 2 pens. And
for the $5.
And I was like, I need you to stamp my thing. And she was like, no, you have to buy a book. And I was like, no, I don't.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
I have to give you money, and I gave you money.
Yep. And she was quite put out to find out that I was right. Which sort of exemplifies La Jolla.
Yeah, that's definitely the La Jolla vibe.
And it's not even like, it's a money thing.
Yeah.
It's a money thing. Although they did have this very cool sign that said, buy books from people who sell books, not who colonize space.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So it's still an independent bookstore.
Yeah.
If you're in La Jolla, it's definitely worth, like, a wander.
If I lived within walking distance, I would...
It would be a problem.
It would be a problem. For sure.
Mostly because, like, not only is it a bookstore, but they do have all the other, like, cool stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to comb it for whale stuff regularly.
And there was quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I looked. And then I was like, she's not going to have any trouble finding anything.
And I was really sad, though, because the year we went before this, so 2 years ago, they had, like, a killer whale puzzle box. And I was so sure they'd just have those again. And they didn't. So I didn't get that.
That's so sad.
I know.
2 years ago? We didn't...
Whenever... Before the last one before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Must have been 2019.
So 2020 they canceled it, and 2021 was virtual. Remember that. I did all my damage on the virtual one at Mysterious Galaxy. Surprise!
Yep. Yep. I think actually I tried to get one from each of the stores again.
And you had a lot of trouble doing it.
Yeah, although the main problem was that Warwick's tried to send me my book, and then it got lost in the mail. And then they wouldn't do anything about it.
I remember that. That was fun.
Yes. Yep. Good time. So that was Warwick's.
Yeah, we went to Warwick's first. We and everyone else on the planet, apparently, because Warwick's was the first to open.
Yeah.
But then we came south to...
North. We went north.
Nope, you're right. North.
North where...
I had a nap this afternoon.
I wish I had a nap this afternoon.
So we went north to Diesel.
Which was a brand new bookstore for both of us.
Mm-hmm. And you'd think with a name like Diesel, it would be like kind of punkish, rough, edgy. It is the most charming aesthetic inside that I have ever seen in a bookstore.
Ever.
Maybe, that might be an exaggeration.
With the Mysterious Galaxy verbatim on the list.
Okay, verbatim is very charming. But, like, everything's, like, bright and cheery and cursive on the inside.
Yes.
And the dissonance still drives me around the bend.
Between the name and the type of the state. There is a very excellent whale fountain outside.
Yeah, made of, like, driftwood.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty freaking cool. It took us a while to figure out what it was.
Yeah, we walked by it, like, twice before we were like, that is a whale! And I caught out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, oh, there's a silhouette over there that looks like a whale. And then we looked up, and it was very much a whale.
So it's a cute little store.
It's right next to one of the best ice cream shops I've ever been to.
What was it called? Handles?
Yeah.
That was good.
Handles Ice Cream. And weirdly affordable, and they do not hold back giving you ice cream.
I thought I was going to... Like, I've never had a cone of ice cream that was so tall.
Me neither.
It was terrifying.
It was incredible. A perfect San Diego institution.
Yes.
And then we headed back south to UCSD.
The UCSD bookstore, which is also where all the students buy their textbooks. It's very odd.
It's very odd, and Amazon is literally growing on them like a tumor. In that a big chunk got allocated for, like, Amazon pickups, and it was very sad.
Yeah, it's a weird setup.
So that's a better place, you were saying, for books written by faculty or books that you're going to need for school.
Right. Although, I mean, like, I feel like over the last however many years it's been, they have improved their YA offering.
Yeah.
Which I didn't expect. Like, the bookstore where we went for undergrad was very much a, like, branded apparel and knickknacks, quote-unquote, bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
But the UCSD bookstore is actually, like, a bookstore. You can get, like, new science fiction and fantasy stuff.
Now you have me trying to remember what was at the UCSB bookstore.
Nothing fantastic.
There can't have been, or I would have been there more often.
Yeah, I was always disappointed by books when I walked in there. So while we were there, I got a great nonfiction book that turns out to be by faculty, by Barbara F. Walter, called How Civil Wars Start and How to Stop Them.
I didn't realize she was faculty here.
Yeah, there was a thing in the paper not right before, but like 2 weeks before book crawl, interviewing her. And I had forgotten she was local, but I saw that in the bookstore and I was like, that's actually on my list.
So cheerful.
I know.
A cheerful read, and it's been staring at me in this room for weeks now.
It's at eye level.
It also looks very ominous. Whoever designed the cover did a good job making it look very ominous.
Yes.
I got, in contrast, an adorable little graphic novel manga called Cat Massage Therapy.
Oh, I remember that.
By Haruhi Sakawa, and it's about a guy who's stressed out and goes to a massage therapy place run by cats. And
this is not a euphemism.
No. Literally, they're just literally cats. I actually haven't read the whole thing, but I started it, and they're just adorable cats. And they walk on your back and do the kneading thing, and then you're relaxed, because that's how cats are.
You did show me the beginning. That guy was very stressed.
I felt him in my soul. I also want to go to a massage therapy place where cats can just walk all over me, and then curl up and purr.
That's not a bad business model.
I mean, that's pretty much my home, but it's only one cat.
And she has claws.
But she's a good purr.
She is like a little bellows.
She is precious.
So where did we go after UCSD?
Then we went much more south. And we went to La Playa, which is in Point Loma.
Yeah.
And they're adorable, but not in plague times.
It is very cramped in there. They have these massive bookshelves that go all the way up to the ceiling, and they're placed very close together. I have a large purse. So, like, I kept, begging people and stuff. It was super crowded. I'd say it was the most crowded place we visited.
Yeah.
And there were very few masks, and we stood in line for a while, and I was nervous.
Yeah.
But it turned out okay.
Yeah.
And I picked up at first I was, very overwhelmed because my go-to sections, the YA and science fiction fantasy.
in the far back corner.
Were in the far back corner, and they didn't have...
They should have had a circuit, arrows and having people rotate.
Yeah.
So that you could only go one way.
That would have
helped
a
lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, usually I love their vibe. I love, I don't mind close-quartered bookstores and all the stacks. There's something about it that, it's a very nice vibe, but not...
Yeah, I mean, if we'd been under, the fire limit, it would have been a lot better. And I sort of happened upon this great nonfiction book that's been on my to-acquire list for a long time called The Woman Who Would Be King. That's about Hatshepsut.
Oh, yeah.
In ancient Egypt.
And that was a new one, too, right?
No.
Oh.
It was a $7 secondhand in almost perfect condition.
I was going to say, it looks like it's in great condition.
I am very pleased with it. That one is by Kira Cooney.
I do eye that every time I walk by it.
You are welcome to borrow it.
I don't read non-fic often, but I'm like, what if I did, though?
Yeah, that one, I'm not going to, get to it anytime soon. Mostly I'm just very pleased to own it. To have access.
Yes. That's why we do this.
Yes. Because we are greedy.
Because we're little dragons.
Instant access to anything that might ever fleetingly appeal.
Yes. We need our whims satisfied immediately. I ended up getting The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers there.
I have that on ebook.
But I think it was a new copy, or it was priced almost new.
It's hard to tell in the playa what is new and what is not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's very obvious that it's a secondhand book.
Yes.
And sometimes it is not.
Yes. But in general, I do like their vibe. That was another one where the last time we were there, in 2019, they had a beautiful set of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it was one of the copies where, if you have them all together, it makes a picture when the spines are lined up. And I was like, I need it. And it was actually very reasonably priced.
Super leather-bound, gorgeously.
I don't think they're leather.
Really?
Yeah. Or if they are, it's covered up by the paper making the picture.
That's probably, yeah.
But I think it's enormous, it's annotated, it's 3-volume thing, and it's everything. And then it was very reasonably priced for what it was.
And you passed.
And I passed. Because reasonably priced for what it was is not the same thing as within my budget, necessarily. But it was a very good deal, and I wish I had taken advantage of it. But here we are. Next time. And then we ended at our that day. No, we didn't. We thought we
originally planned to end our first day at Mysterious Galaxy because, stopping after 4 bookstores is totally reasonable. 5
out of 11.
Yeah, so we did great.
I tried to hold up 11 fingers and it didn't go well.
Somebody didn't get their nap.
I didn't get my nap.
Oh.
Well. And there, as always, I went nuts and got all sorts. Oh, yeah. Okay, I did. I got Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry.
Right, with the orc lady on the cover.
Which ended up being serendipitous timing because I think I don't know if they've pulled them, but they're reprinting it. So now it's suddenly not available because they're going to re-release it for reasons it got picked up by a big publisher, I think.
Wow. Good
Something
for them.
like that. I know, yeah. So that's exciting that I got it before that happened. You talked me into getting Spear by Nicola Griffith.
Yes, I sure did.
You sure did. I got my Stealing Thunder and Gifting Fire.
Wow.
By Alina Boyden.
You did go nuts.
I did go nuts. And then that scored me... I don't know why. I thought maybe this was just...
Did you have, cash back or whatever they call it?
No, I don't get the cash back because I get the military discount year-round.
Working for the feds.
Heckin' yeah! But I also ended up with the Stone Girls story by Sarah Beth Durst, and I think that was just available for a discount, and then you could pick a free book off the ARC shelf.
By the time we got there, the ARC shelf was pretty picked over.
Oh, yeah. So I just got The House on Hallowed Ground by Nancy Cole Silverman, which I think is more of a mystery type thing. Something I would never have picked up otherwise, but it was the best of what was
I didn't even pick anything up off the shelf at that point. There was no point. I got a couple of books. I got the sequel to Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long, which I have not actually read.
That's right, I remember you picked that up and I was like, oh, have you actually read it? And you were like, nope, and I was like, cool.
You got very nervous.
Which, excited and nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I make that plunge a lot more often than you do. It's also only a duology.
Oh, then yeah.
Yeah, so there's not like a huge...
That's much less of a risk.
Yeah.
Future Gabi here to let future Smack know that it would have been less of a risk, but joke's on you because it sure is not a duology and there are going to be at least 4 books in that series. So enjoy that plunge, and now our listeners at least are forewarned.
So the sequel's called Temple of No God. It's by H.M. Long, and there is a blurb from Claire Legrand on the front. And I am a fan of Claire Legrand.
They are
also,
pretty.
Yeah, they're just gorgeous books. The first one has a giant owl on the front, and the second one has this giant moth on the front. And they're just really pretty.
Megan and I were at Barnes & Noble the other week, because of course we were, and we were commenting on, you know how for like a year there were a whole bunch of books coming out with snakes on the cover?
Yeah.
Now we've noticed a lot of books have birds on the cover.
Really?
Mostly corvids, but...
Interesting.
Yes. It's a very interesting trend, and also a very fun game to play at Barnes & Noble.
I bet. You know, I've been looking at like a lot of pre-made covers, which are covers that like independent designers create, and then you can buy them as is, and they're a lot cheaper than getting like a custom cover designed. And so many of the ones I've seen with no people on them have snakes on them. So there's a curve somewhere.
Like a market lag or something.
Yes, but like I have no idea how long they've been like for sale.
Right.
So who knows? But I have noticed that. Lots and lots of snakes.
Snakes and birds!
Yeah.
Where are the whales, guys?
They're coming in a couple years.
Yes. It'll be my time.
I gotta say though, if they do that with wolves though, I'm gonna be pretty pissed because most of the books that have wolves on the cover are not actually about wolves or werewolves.
That's really sad.
Very often there's like a deep dark forest.
And wolves are the representation of a deep dark forest.
Yep.
Well, that's BS.
But my other book at Mysterious Galaxy, which I didn't actually have to pay for, I got to use the Mysterious Galaxy rewards. Yeah, the loot. Where every $100 you spend, you get $10 back the following year. So I spent a small fortune on them last year.
But drawn out.
Yeah, over 12 months.
Which is probably better for them.
Probably. I certainly couldn't do it in 1 month. There's no way it would work in 1 month. It would be rough in 6 months. So anyway, I had all this money for free books, and I found a mystery called Once There Were Wolves.
Does that involve
by Charlotte McConaughey. And yes, it does. It's also signed. It's this woman who is like going to study wolves in Scotland because they're being reintroduced, which is like,
okay,
yeah.
Can I have that job? Can we have that job?
I think there's a murder, so we might not want it.
Maybe
but
we
like,
don't want that job.
Yeah. So it's trying to figure out if either the wolves did it or a human did it.
Definitely a human did it.
Yeah, probably. 100%. I certainly hope so. I'm
Oh.
gonna be very disappointed if the wolves did do it.
That will be unacceptable.
But there's also this aspect of like trying to keep the humans from blaming the wolves out of hand. Because that happens.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
All the time. Although I read earlier today that apparently they have sort of a boar problem in the areas around Rome in Italy.
I wonder why.
But that the growing native population of wolves could help a lot with that.
It sure could.
Which
that's what top predators are for.
Exactly. And boars are scary. They'll mess you up.
Well, that sounds incredible.
Yeah. That was probably the most exciting nonfiction article I've read in a while.
Wolves everywhere.
Yes.
I think. And if wolves can't be their whales.
Yes.
Is the solution to everything.
Okay.
Okay.
So while we were there and Gabi went nuts, we realized we weren't actually as tired as we expected to be, so we decided to hit up another bookstore.
Mm-hmm. So we moved over to Blue Stocking, which is in...
Like North Park? South Park? Something like
one
that?
of the parks.
I think it's North Park.
It's on Fifth Ave.
Which is a pretty hip area.
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest. Oh, Hillcrest is also fairly chic these days.
Oh, so chic. So chic, so hip.
I just didn't want to say hip twice.
But you have two of them. So yeah, Blue Stocking.
It's quite small.
Yeah.
And the inventory fluctuates, I would say. It's very much like it relies on its secondhand books more than anything else, I think.
I feel like that's how it used to be. It used to be more of a secondhand bookstore. And now I remember this time there was like a whole shelf or two of Game of Thrones stuff. And
there were a lot of
and a lot of it was new. Like there were a lot of new books in the sci-fi fantasy section. I feel like I picked up more new books than I picked up used
not like
books.
Recent necessarily, but new copies.
Yeah, new copies. Yeah.
So, do you remember what you got?
So Blue Stocking has a very weird queer section, which is a very generous way to describe that section. They have like a bookshelf of older gay books, and then a separate bookshelf of older lesbian books. And they seemed older. I don't know if it's just like before the queer umbrella was reclaimed or what. But anyway, the way they set it up is weird. But I did end up getting Subtle Blood by K.J. Charles, which is the third in that
trilogy.
Like Will Darling trilogy or whatever
I talked you into that. I remember that now.
You didn't have to talk me that hard. I was like, nothing else here is that appealing. And it'd be nice to support. While I'm at it, support a queer author. So, Future Gabi here again with a quick clarification. It turns out that if KJ Charles is queer, she is not at least internet out. She just writes a lot of queer fic.
Now you have an excuse to track down the other two.
Oh yeah.
So we were at Blue Stocking, and then we checked out, and they didn't have the tote bag because at that point, Mysterious Galaxy and Blue Stocking had run out, which was like the 5th.
Yeah, something like that.
So once you hit your 5th store, you were supposed to get a tote bag, but the tote bags were evenly distributed between all the stores. So some stores ran out faster than others. Like Warwick's had them all day apparently because everyone went to Warwick's first. Mm-hmm. So Mysterious Galaxy didn't have a tote bag. They were really nice about it though. They felt really terrible. And then this woman at Blue Stockings was like, "Give me your phone number and I will text you when we get more in."
Oh yeah, that's
she was lovely, and she did. But by that point, we had already tracked more down the following morning. But so we finished at Blue Stockings, and then we were like, well, we're still not that tired.
We're still so energized. Let's go to another one.
And then we went to
Verbatim, which is in North Park.
Oh, I was close.
You were close.
It's not like Hillcrest and North Park are all that far apart.
No.
Anyway. Not at all. So, and Verbatim is this gorgeous 2 large room area.
It's so pretty. I think we both landed on this as our second favorite.
After Mysterious Galaxy. But, like, I don't think... Like, we went in to one... It blows my mind a little bit, still. Because it's, like, these 2 separate, gigantic rooms with, like, 30, 20-foot ceilings.
Yeah, and I forgot you didn't realize the second half of the room was there. Or the
I
second room
had
was there.
no idea.
So you thought the one was all the space there was.
But also, like...
But also that was impressive in and of itself.
It was a massive space. There were lots of, like, antique chairs and stuff sitting around, and there was this whole ginormous 20-foot-long display on the back wall with books spelling out verbatim books. And then you go into the other room, which means you have to go back towards the front and around the cash register area and then back again. And that's where all their massive shelves are. And that's the only one I had ever seen before.
That's
so, like,
the only...
Like, I didn't... Last time we went to Verbatim.
Oh!
I had no idea the other, like, gorgeous room was there.
So you 100% missed out. So you only realized the one room was there in 2019. Uh-huh. This time you thought the other room was all there was.
And it's been 3 years,
right.
So I, like,
didn't connect. Forgotten. Got it.
I'm still reeling.
There's also a very gorgeous mural on the outside.
Oh, yeah. Just like the brightest, most colorful bookshelves with, not dragons, dinosaurs all over them.
Dinosaurs. There were some dragons on there.
There were some dragons, but mostly dinosaurs. They also had some really cool art for sale inside, where there are these very, like, stereotypical, like, beach scenes and watercolor and soft blue waves, and then at the top somebody has painted in a massive angry dragon. And it's awesome.
It was a very, like, an artistic choice I've never seen before, and I was very in love with that whole, like, paint a normal thing and then slap a UFO in there.
I'm pretty sure I've seen copies of those prints, like, in my grandmother's home. So, like...
It's a thing.
I think they didn't paint them themselves. They bought, like, cheap landscapes.
Oh, and then added. Oh, you think this is a dual artist effort, not coordinated
I don't
at
think
all
the
between
first,
the artists. No,
yeah.
not
the
coordinated.
First artists would be really pleased. But
and they do pretty much all used books, I think, or if they had new books, I don't remember. They didn't have a very significant presence.
I got a bunch of used books.
Yeah, so did I.
But I wasn't really looking to see if they had new.
Right. I didn't stumble across the new books as often as I did at some of the other used bookstores.
Yeah. They do you can sell them your used books, probably for like pennies on the dollar. Sure. I don't care. That is where I will be going to get rid of the books that I don't want, that cannot go to the Sirens donation pile.
Yay! What kind of books can't go to the Sirens donation?
Books by men.
Oh, right.
Mostly.
Men.
Books that aren't overtly feminist is not stuff they would necessarily care about. Sirens, I mean.
Right. Duh.
And, like, I have a couple of books I bought during the pandemic because I was like, independent author! That just weren't very good.
Oh.
So.
Tragic.
Yeah, those can
go away. Yes. Yeah. Get those panties.
Yeah. So at that point,
that was Saturday.
That was Saturday. Because we finished there. And I finished a lot earlier, and I was sitting, and I was so tired.
The stores were closed, and so were our brains.
Yes. By that point, we had hit our limit. Thank God. So we went back to your place for a while and hung out, and just sort of...
I don't remember what we did.
I think we were gonna read, but I just sat on your couch and stared into space.
I'm just going to point out, while we're sitting here, did you see that Once There Were Wolves has a blurb by Emily St. John?
I sure did! The cover of this book, it makes me laugh. The Emily St. John Mandel thing.
I saw her name, and I was like, she didn't write that. No, she did not.
But we she just liked it.
Yes, I guess she liked it. So funny. Okay, anyway, that was Saturday. And then Sunday.
Sunday was bright and early. I was not a happy camper. We started at the southernmost bookstore.
And you live in...
practically in North County.
Yeah,
like it's still technically the city of San Diego, but it's like as far north as you can get.
Yep, and still be the city of San Diego. So the northernmost point to the southernmost point of San Diego County, probably.
Close enough.
Ish,
yeah.
And Coronado's also a very rich, swanky neighborhood.
Coronado is like, I was gonna say it's the richest, but I think Rancho Santa Fe might be the richest. But it's like top 3 for sure.
I was gonna say, I would guess like Del Mar or Torrey Pines or...
Del Mar is definitely above Torrey Pines, and Coronado is definitely above Del Mar. Coronado is for rich folks. And it's across the San Diego Bay, so you actually have to drive on a bridge to get there.
I think I'm the only person I know who enjoys this.
I used to, and it made me very nervous this time. Because, so guardrails are very normal size.
Oh yeah, if you do not drive straight, you go off that bridge.
Yeah, I was taken aback by how lax all that was. So, and you have to park in the middle of a residential area to find any free parking in Coronado. Everything costs a fortune.
Yep. They do have a very charming diner near Baybuck, so I went a little early to go to this like very classic style diner where
we probably left our homes at the same time.
Probably, yeah. And yet I had time to go and park and eat a whole breakfast and get my coffee topped up many times before I made it.
And go to the bookstore and buy something.
Did I buy it before you?
Yes.
Ooh. No.
Yes. No. Yes. Maybe? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't think so.
I remember... Mostly I got Ice Planet Barbarians.
You, came in right after me and dove. Because I was messing around and I was looking for all the political nonfiction books. And then I spotted the YA section. And then I finally went over to the fantasy and science fiction section. And it was very small.
Yep.
And there were very few options that were particularly agreeable. So,
but they did have Ice Planet Barbarians.
They didn't by the time I got there.
This is by Ruby Dixon. It's been on both of our TVs.
And we've talked about it in the past. This is the one with the wild paperback cover. That
will have been part of our genre stigma bonus episode, which, as of this recording, isn't out yet, but will hopefully be out before this episode is released. So, you will probably also know what we're talking about. Future Gabi again. So, the original plan was to publish our genre stigma episode on the 1st, and that obviously didn't happen for various reasons. So that is still pending, and I know you're simply on the edge of your seat, but I promise you will get to hear all about the cover of Ice Planet Barbarians soon.
This is a homemade operation, folks.
And it shows.
So you got there. Ice Planet Barbarians was on my list because I am so curious about it.
Sorry.
That's okay. I think
my books are your books.
Also, the ebook's much cheaper, I think. Although the paperback, you were saying it has new epilogues.
Yeah. Bonus content of some sort.
Right. So I get to the science fiction and fantasy section, and I'm looking it over, and there's only one book that I had any interest in, and I had been trying not to buy it because it was hardcover and very short.
Oh, yeah!
And it's Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, and it came out in May of this year, and it's so good.
Well, it must have come out in April.
That's true. Because that's when Book Crawl was.
But it had just come out.
And then I read it immediately, which never happens. I read a book right after it came out. What? It was I read it twice. It was so good.
You wouldn't let me take it, because you were no, I must read this twice.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it's on the snack shelf. And I haven't read
Gabi's snack shelf.
Yes.
It was so good. So I got lucky with that one.
Bay Books was a little weird because their organizational scheme was just kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
What they decided was...
Gideon the Ninth in the YA section, which is not where I would have put it.
There were little things like that throughout.
We stood in the YA section going, that one's not YA. That one's not YA. And then eventually I was like, well, maybe somebody shelved the gay books in the YA section. Which I suspect might have been the case. But I can't... Coronado's that kind of place.
Yeah.
Very small subversive acts. But anyway, so I grabbed Nettle and Bone. I go to the cash register, and I'm, right up there paying. And you come up out of nowhere, and you're like, you need to get your tote bag! You need to get your tote bag! And I was not fully awake. And I was just like, what is... I thought that's what I'm doing!
I'm sorry. I had lots of coffee.
Oh my God. And it turns out I got the last tote bag in the whole bookstore.
Then I must have checked out, because...
Mm-hmm. I mean, you grabbed it, the Ice Planet Barbarians, and went straight to the register, because you knew we were in Coronado so early to get our tote bag. And I was still messing around.
This is all coming back to me now, yeah.
I know. It was a long morning.
It was. That was a morning. And I didn't have to go nearly as far as you did. Yeah. And I was caffeinated. Unlike now.
It's too late in the day for caffeine.
It's true. And then we moved up to Book Catapult.
First we had... Did we have brunch before?
I don't think so. Because we got there... Because I remember I was sitting on the bench outside while it was... Okay. And it was while it was opening. And the guy who opened the door was hilarious. He was very helpful and sweet. I liked whoever was... I don't know if it was the owner or he just happened to be running the
yeah.
register that day, but he was very excellent, very helpful without being like overly pushy kind of deal.
And so Book Catapult is in South Park, right?
Another park?
Another park. We got a lot of parks. Well,
we have two.
We have Balboa Park. And
we
have
three.
The neighborhoods around Balboa Park. So the neighborhood south of Balboa is called South Park.
Yes, it is in South Park.
Okay. And I don't know if I'll ever find this again, but going from Bay Books in Coronado to Book Catapult in South Park, and we were driving separate cars at this point, so there is no one to back me up on this, but I passed by a library on the way almost to the point where I was trying to park. It was a small library, and out front was this, 8-foot dragon statue. And, my head, moved on a swivel as I drove by. And then I was like, no, I have to meet them. I have to park. I'm going to be late. And I might never find it again.
I didn't see it. I have no idea what she's talking about, and I want to find it so bad.
We should do that sometime.
Okay.
The next time we need a nonfiction book. Because that's what Book Catapult really excels at, is their nonfiction section. Which I did not appreciate the last time I was there in person, because I didn't read anywhere near as much nonfiction as I do these days.
They also have a really cute children's nook in the back there.
And that, you have nibblings. I do not have nibblings.
Well, I don't think I got anything for the nibblings at Book Catapult this time.
Yeah, you got them a lot of other stuff.
I ended up getting a hard copy of a.k.a. by Vaishnavi Patel, because it's beautiful.
And it's supposed to be amazing.
Yay.
I'm excited. I have an ebook copy.
And then I got an Ocean's Puzzle and a series of Tales of the Sea for Megan for her birthday. And it was different stories from different cultures that have to do with sea creatures of the ocean or various.
That's very cool.
It was very awesome. Then we have brunch across the street.
Yeah.
Fortification. More coffee. Because
the place wasn't called Fortification. It was called Mateo.
Oh yeah, Mateo's. Yep. That was the brunch place.
And I got to marinate on. I bought way more books than I intended to at Book Catapult.
Did
I tell you that? I mean, I only had 3, but
what were the 3 you
I've
got?
been really careful about how much I'm spending at each location. And I walked into Book Catapult and I was like, nonfiction! So I got this book called Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism. And it's by Amanda Montel. And it's been on my list for a while because it's just so freaking weird. Also, I feel like it's terrifyingly applicable to our current reality. Our timeline.
our current timeline.
Yeah.
Our no good, very bad timeline.
And then I found a book that my dad has started bird watching. And so I found a book about the smartest raptors. And I gave that to him for Father's Day. And it jumped to the top of his TBR pile. It was very lovely. I succeeded. But then I also got this book called The Plague Cycles, because
you should have ended with the raptors.
I was fascinated. There's this idea. It's not an idea. It's a thing.
It's a thing, guys.
It's a thing that I only know a little bit about, where there are cycles of the same plague that occur over multiple centuries, and sometimes it's twice a century. And the Black Plague cropped up 8 times over 300 years or whatever. And so that I found fascinating, particularly in our current timeline. But it wasn't about that. It was just a history of plagues.
Oh.
Which
was good.
Yeah. I got that. I actually DNF'd that. That was the first DNF I've had in a while. Because I was just so disappointed that it wasn't about actually plague cycles.
Right. Do you think you'll revisit it, or do you think you're just
Nope, I think I'm...
give it to verbatim?
Yeah. I mean, I'm holding on to it in case anyone else in the house wants to read it, but it's not what I thought it was.
Well, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
And you haven't read Cultish yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
My next nonfiction book will probably be How Civil War Started.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The one that's staring at me
as
we speak.
I'm going to make it not stare at you, is the goal.
That's really exciting for me. Much more exciting for me than it is for you. After that, we headed inland to downtown to the library shop, which is
Yes.
more swag than books.
There's very few actual books for sale.
They do have a shelf of whale swag and a shelf of cat swag, so I was very happy and wasn't sure
you spent
what I need to get.
Fortune, right?
I mean, I got those whale bookends.
Like, hefty.
Because I needed them. But that did end up being the only thing I ended up getting.
I hope so.
So, and I do think, like, they were pricey because they were hefty bookends. But at one point I had, like, a collection of things. And by the end, I just had that thing. And then I got to spin the wheel. So that was the other thing, is if you spent a certain amount at the library shop specifically, you got to spin their extra swag wheel. So I spun their extra swag wheel and got an arc of The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty.
Chakraborty, I think.
There's an arc.
Okay, my bad. Never mind.
I think.
I feel like we should also clarify, the library shop is connected to San Diego's Central Library location, and so it is literally the library's shop.
Right.
Which is why they have so few actual books in there. They don't need to sell books. They are the library.
Yes. If you're there, you should be getting books from the library. Mm-hmm. So this is not necessarily a critique.
Except that we were there on a Sunday, so the library was closed, and I could not find the freaking entrance.
Oh, yeah. So there was that problem where it was really hard to get in, and then the second problem was that because the library wasn't open, there was also no access to restrooms, which is
important.
Yes.
Especially if you're downtown.
So that was a thing. And that was number 10, and then we went down to
Barrio Logan. And this is like San Diego's newest bookstore.
Libélula. Which is Spanish for dragonfly, it turns out.
Very exciting.
Yes.
It was
very cute.
Yeah, it's an adorable place. It's not big.
You took French, didn't you?
I sure did. How could you tell? So, Libélula in Barrio Logan is one of San Diego's newest bookstores. And it's not big. They had a bunch of stuff out on tables out front. And all their shelving inside on their biggest wall is really interesting. I bet it's custom. It's like pipes.
Yeah.
Like plumbing pipes. Sort of curved all over the place.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was very interesting. And it seemed a little disorganized, but that was really only at first. Like, once you start looking at, like, where the titles are and stuff, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's intuitive, but I don't think it was alphabetical.
No. Or, like, if it was alphabetical, I couldn't figure out what exactly the organizational scheme is. Like, similar things were together sometimes.
But I ended up getting a YA fantasy, a book on prison abolishment. Abolition. So I got a book, a YA fantasy novel.
Both of us.
Yes. A book on prison. I've forgotten already.
Abolition.
Oh my god. I am heat drugged in this room.
I know, I had to close the window.
It's too noisy out. I know. Okay. Prison abolition. There's no S in there. For some reason, my brain was like, there's absolution. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, that's a word.
Prison abolition. And then a nonfiction book on, like, helpful herbs and plants, which I figure will be useful if I ever write about witches.
Ooh, I don't remember that.
I don't remember what it's called.
Cool. I ended up getting Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard because it was the most affordable price I've seen for that book. I think it was under $10.
Did you get the hardback?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It was, like, stacked on a cart in a corner, and I was like, I recognize that thickness. And pulled it out. And then I also ended up getting a graphic novel adaptation of The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
Right. I would like to read that. You should do that for your Mysterious Galaxy bingo.
Maybe. I was trying to wait until I was a little bit stronger, and also I was going to actually, like, read the book before reading the graphic novel adaptation.
No.
It feels like watching the movie before reading the book, which...
I was thinking the graphic novel would be a little easier.
Oh, a little to chew?
Yeah. Because
that's a good point.
It'll be shorter.
That's a good point. Well, okay, I might do that.
Okay.
And then we both won and we got our trophies!
Yep. And everyone was really, like...
They were so sweet there.
They were really nice. They were really excited for us.
And they were so on the ball with, like...
displays.
The display, like, keeping their... Like, as books were disappearing, someone would, like, some book fairy would just show up and stick more books in the gaps
and
left
rearrange
by
everything. It was very impressive to watch.
Yes.
And it only happened... You only saw it if you stood in one spot for a
while. So that was book crawl. And then I think we revisited Mysterious Galaxy because we were done early.
Yeah. Maybe that's the day where I sat on your couch and stared into space.
Most likely. I mean...
I think the first day I went
It could have been
home,
both days.
But, like, the second day when we finished, we went back to your place, and I was exhausted.
That's right. And we sat on the couch.
Ostensibly to read.
Yes. But I think we mostly ended up zoning.
Yeah. So hard.
We made a pretty stack of the books on the coffee table and took a picture of my haul.
And I was like, I'll do that when I get home.
Yeah.
I did not.
And then we just kind of curled up and zoned.
Yep.
I do remember that.
Yep. Fully intending to read, but...
I don't remember what we did at Mysterious Galaxy for round 2.
Wandered in circles for a while,
Probably.
Because I was looking at various books.
But you usually don't walk into bookstores unless you're going to buy something.
I sure try not to.
So I'm like, what else could you have gotten?
That might have been the day I got Once There Were Wolves.
Oh, you think you split them up?
I think so.
That makes sense. I do have a memory of being like, we were just here. I don't need to buy something. Maybe that was how that came up.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, book crawl!
Our memories at that point are very disjointed. So, it was a good weekend, though. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
And then I got to go through all my new books and stamp them with the stamp you gave me for Christmas. I love that thing so much.
I don't stamp until I read, but it is very fun.
Nope. I stamp all of them.
So bold.
Yes. They're mine.
Until you give them back to verbatim
or sirens
or
whatever. Yeah. Still mine. So you started reading any of the books you got?
Have I started reading any of the books I got? No. Well, I read Stealing Thunder and Gifting Fire before I bought them. Does that count?
I think that counts.
I'm using my whale box.
That's nice.
I read Where's the Narwhal?
Your little
by
children's book?
Ingela Arrhenius.
That's a cool last name.
Yeah. I plan to read Cat Massage Therapy for the Mysterious Galaxy Summer Bingo, which started on the 15th
of June.
We have a spreadsheet.
Yes.
We're so ready.
Yeah. I've already finished 2.
I'm using my bookends. I think I finished 2 too.
2 spots on the Mysterious Galaxy Bingo?
Yeah. I haven't decided which spots yet, but
no,
I finished 2 books and they will occupy 2 spots.
For those who do not remember, last summer, Mysterious Galaxy, the bookstore, put together a bingo sheet of books to read over the summer. And there's an adult bingo sheet, and there's a kid's bingo sheet. You look very ready to
We should finish this topic before I freak out about the thing I'm going to freak out about.
Okay,
but,
so...
Yes.
And so there are 24 spots. The center is a free one. But every spot is like, you have to read a book with a dragon in it, or with a punny title, or someone with a BIPOC author, or...
A book that's in a genre that's new to you somehow.
Yeah, that's the hard one.
That's the hard one.
That's the hardest one. And so we've both already managed 2 squares.
Yay!
I'm very pleased.
And everyone who's in San Diego should go to Mysterious Galaxy and get a bingo sheet and do it. Because if you get a row, you get 20% off, and if you do a blackout... 20%
off of one book.
Sorry. One book. Calm down. It's 1 book.
Yeah.
And then, if you black out... If you do the entire bingo sheet...
And don't black out.
Without blacking out. You get...
If you black out, you have to call 911.
Yes! Very important. Call 911 if you lose consciousness.
that comes straight off of a hospital website, just for the record.
Yep.
The only bullet point under when to call 911
was if you lose consciousness. Very helpful. So helpful.
Back to the fun stuff.
So if you complete the entire bingo sheet, you get entered into a raffle for $100 to spend at Mysterious Galaxy. I think so. Well, that's what it was last. That's why we were so excited last year to play.
I know. And, okay, but this year, I have not even looked at, like, what's part of the raffle winning, because I have decided I am not going to buy any books to fill out my bingo sheet.
Oh yeah, so that's the other twist to this, is if you buy books that you use for bingo spaces, you get additional entries into the raffle.
For every book you buy.
But I think our goal for this particular bingo summer is, especially in the wake of Book Crawl, is to read books we already own.
Yes.
And not buy books.
Yeah.
We're going to try.
Nope.
We're going to talk about
promise
books.
We're not going to buy any this summer.
Oh, no. No. I'm not going
bingo.
to... If I read a book for bingo that I love enough that I know I want a copy, I will buy it. I'm just going to do what I did last year.
Oh,
I'm not going to buy books in anticipation of a bingo spot.
I forgot. You buy books after you've read them.
Yes.
I don't do that.
That's a key difference we've learned between the two of us. The thing I was freaking out about, because you said, for those who don't remember, which brings me to, this is our anniversary.
Oh my god, you're right.
It's our 1-year anniversary recording. And when this releases, it'll be our 1-year anniversary of episodes releases. So probably this is about...
It's enough overlap.
Anyway, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to us. Happy birthday
to us. And
this is so exciting. I forgot about that.
How lovely. I know, that's why I was losing it. Anyway. So exciting.
Should we do something?
Should we do something?
Like a giveaway? Or, I don't know.
I'm not giving away my book.
No, I'm not giving, not my books, but like...
Some lucky,
like a gift card or
some
something?
lucky winner gets the plague cycle. Some lucky listener. What
or
should
like,
we do?
like
we could do a Mysterious Galaxy.
a $25 thing.
Because they could use that online.
They sure could.
From anywhere in the country.
We'll work that out later.
Okay.
And then we can add it in.
Okay. There may be some birthday swag headed toward one lucky listener. And then I think the only thing left
Family need not participate.
Well, then we won't have anyone.
It'll be Laura and Megan.
If no one applies for the birthday swag, we get to split the birthday swag.
Okay.
So here's hoping that you'll get a chance to participate in a giveaway from your favorite podcast soon. This has been another episode of Infinite TBR. You can find us on our Twitter at Infinite TBR.
And we are individually on Twitter as @WhatSmackSaid and @Gabalodon, which is like Megalodon, but Gab in the front of it. And you can find all our show notes at infinitetbr.com. If you have book recommendations for us or questions you want answered during the podcast, feel free to email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com.